Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa and welcome to Transfer Hub, your home of Aston Villa's transfer news, rumours, links, noise, murmurings. You will hear it here on Transfer Hub over the course of the transfer window. If you are new to our channel, make sure you are subscribing, click your notifications on, especially in the transfer window, so you know when every single rumour has dropped. I will be here delivering on the dot. So stick around with us for that. Make sure you're smashing the likes on this episode and more importantly, comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. This transfer hub is going to be a little bit different to the norm because we're going to do the debrief from Brighton, but it really led me into this transfer hub and this one where it highlights for me everything that is wrong with Aston Villa at the minute. You know, I'm going to be brutally honest with how I'm feeling, my honest thoughts. And this is what's led me towards this transfer hub version of this video. So I was at the game yesterday and I thought for large parts of that game, we were absolutely brilliant because we went 1-0 down. We fought back. We got to grips with the game. And in the second half, for that 20-minute period where Aston Villa were dominant on top, we were so good. We weren't just good because we were creating chances. It was the way in which we was able to churn over possession. They were just kicking it long. It was falling back to a Villa player. We were getting set in our shape. We were then attacking. We were so intense. We were winning the ball back. We were driving forward. Everything was perfect in that first 20 minutes of that second half. And yes, we didn't take our chances, which we should have done. Killed the game off, gone 3-1 up. We would have won the game. But we didn't. But our Achilles heel again is our inability to defend, and it is absolutely killing us this season because for large parts of that game yesterday we were so good. We played exactly how we wanted to play. We play exactly what we want to be, and teams can't live with us. Now we've seen it in parts of a lot of games this season. But for whatever reason, we get undone by conceding goals. And that just can't keep happening. And this is why it's led me to this episode today as a transfer hub of the only way this gets better is if we sign a defender. We need a defender to start with, and we need a right back. That is glaringly obvious from the summer. And not signing a right back has led to big problems this season. And I would also now throw in that I believe we need to sign another centre-back as well. One defender will fix a lot, but we need more. So we'll go into the debrief from the Brighton game, and then we'll get led on to the transfer stuff and what we need, etc. So give your opinions on both sections. Stick around for both sections. So the big, glaringly obvious one for me was their first goal. I don't care whether you are Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, you're in the Vanarama, if it's still called the Vanarama. You cannot concede goals like this, and especially a Premier League team cannot concede this goal. It is borderline comical that if you put clown music over the top of this, it would actually suit it. It is, I can't reiterate how bad this goal was that we conceded against Brighton. So we'll go to it. Big problem number one of this goal. Now, I always say you can't just go to the end of the goal and pick out where that goal comes from. But big problem number one is that this player here isn't being pressed. We've got 3 players that are sitting off Dunk and allowing Dunk to dunk on us and land it wherever he wants to land it. We have to press Dunk with the ball. So that's big problem number 1, is that no one's pressing him. Yeah, do you know what? Go on then, boot it forward. So he boots it forward. Now, in football, at any level, right, you get told, do not let the ball bounce. The ball bounces, you're giving the defenders half a chance to start with. So the ball does bounce, and what that bounce allows is it allows Brighton players to get some initiative and hunt down on us. Because if we just go and deal with this Konsa, nice little cushion header back to Martinez, no problem. But we allow it to bounce, and that is the big problem. And then the second problem is that, and what I'm trying to explain is, by letting the ball bounce, Konsa or Carlos, but it is Konsa, is underneath the ball a little bit now. They're not sort of seeing it come over their head and they can just deal with it. They're watching it bounce, and they're sort of like having to merge their steps when they're running as well. They're not like free-flowing, running 100 mile an hour to this ball. They're having to gauge where the ball's sort of bounced. And it does bounce. And it bounces again. And we don't deal with it. This here now, Konsa has to cushion this ball back to Martinez. I don't understand what we're waiting for. What are we waiting for? And he gets in front of Konsa. We make an absolute mess of it. Look, it's bouncing. We're not dealing with it. Pedro's got his body in front of the ball now. Carlos is being dragged towards the ball as well. We've got a Dingler that's just going to peel off, and he's going to win that ball back, and it's in the back of the net. And this is an absolute mess. Now, I look at this now, and I think, what am I looking at here? I'm looking at a player that's playing at right back that is in a central position. Whether Konsa's at right back or he's at centre half, that is irrelevant to this goal, because Konsa's starting position here, he's fairly central in the width of the 18-yard box. So it's not like he's out on the wing. He's pretty central, probably where you'd expect he would be if he was playing centre half. But his inability to deal with this leads me to think that we need centre halves. We need a centre half that can just defend. Like, I'm looking at players for Nottingham Forest like Murillo, Milenkovic, that was signed for £12 million, who can just deal with stuff. And we've got 2 centre halves here who can't deal with a long ball. What is the answer to that? Honestly, it's really led me to just be perplexed with, if you can't deal with that long ball, we have got major issues as a defensive unit. But the problem is, this has happened again. This has happened before. This goal that we conceded against Brighton, it's not something new, because we go to Leipzig in the Champions League and it's the same 2 players. It's Carlos, it's Konsa. Konsa's not reading the player that's behind him. He's allowing it to drop. We're allowing it to bounce again. Yeah, you've added Martinez into this, but look at Martinez's position. He's out of his box anyway. Is it communication? Is it defensive awareness? Is it picking up runners? Because a fundamental long ball should not be causing this many problems. But it's happened again. It's happened before. We go back now to Fulham, and it's happened again. A ball over the top. This side, it's a left-sided centre half that can't deal with it. But again, we've got 2 players. But again, this one was on Pau because Pau should have dealt with it. We allow it to bounce. So it really leads me to looking at a profile of a player who is just aggressive, who is just a ball-winning monster that can just deal with a ball over the top, and someone that can just organise, and he's just defensively strong, solid, aggressive, clears everything, mops everything up. No problem. I can deal with it. But at the minute, we don't have that type of player that can do that. And it is a big, big worry for me now, is our defending. So, some might say that I'm going over the top or I'm being brutal. But I'm sorry. I've watched a lot of football. If you can't deal with them type of goals, then we got big, big problems. Anyway, we get back into the game with a penalty, and it was a penalty. He's literally kicked Morgan Rogers' back leg as he's going for the ball, so it's a penalty. Brilliant to see Ollie Watkins stepping up and making that penalty. Sent the keeper the wrong way. I really do like his new technique, so I think that was really good. Needs praise that he's now stepping up, taking the penalties. He's 2-2 now, so brilliant stuff from Watkins. Again, more brilliant stuff from Watkins was the pick out for the Morgan Rogers goal. Wonderful assist. Absolutely brilliant. The weight of it, the vision on it, the execution on it. The Morgan Rogers goal was fantastic. So Watkins deserves praise here. Yes, he missed 2 chances towards the end of the game. The first one, he should have hit first time. He was offside. I think he was offside. From what I could see, I called offside when he was through. And then the last one, he fires over, needs to get his head over the ball. But he had a good game. He had a good game. He got a goal. He got an assist. He led the line pretty well. And hopefully he can build on it now. I saw a lot of negativity towards Watkins, but I mean, look what he's just done here. So there we go. That's what he can do as well. So yeah, he missed his chance at the end of the game, but he did a lot of good stuff as well. So their goal. Now, again, it goes down to a very, very good goal from Brighton, but we stand off far too much in a lot of situations. And I think it goes down to, again, of being a bit more just winning the ball, but not fouling him in the box. Otherwise, it's going to be a penalty, but making it more difficult for Matoma to cross the ball and find the pass. Because if you're looking at this situation here now, we've got 2 players that are sort of dealing with Matoma, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. But what you do need to do is try and block and stop the cross. The other big issue I've got is, I called it on the fan cam, was Ramsey's position. Now, when this ball was off screen in and around here, Ramsey was chasing and tracking back one of their players. And I don't think he did enough to get back quick enough. And we can see that he has got back quick enough. And he's in a decent position to get back here now. You look at our defensive line, it's pretty solid. We've got Luca Dean with someone at the back post. We've got Mings with a player in the middle. I think that's Rutter. And then we've got the 2 here. I think, personally, Ramsey should sense a bit of danger here. And I think he should drift in here a little bit. Because if you're looking at the three players at the edge of the box, yes, you've got Tielemans that can go out there. You'd potentially be able to have Kamara that can go back out there, but he's got to face the opposite way. He might not know what's happening behind him once he's facing up Matoma. But I do feel like Ramsey should probably just drift in there a little bit and just occupy a bit of space. Doesn't need to go and mark someone, but just have a bit of space in there. So if the ball does go to one of these, we've got a few more bodies in there. And it doesn't happen because as the ball goes to João Pedro, we've got Ramsey still at the edge of the box. I don't know what he's doing there because he's not marking number 33 because he's not goal side of 33 yet. So here we are pretty well set, I guess, to deal with João Pedro. You can see we are eyeing up João Pedro if he's about to shoot. But he plays this wonderful little flick to Lamptey. And once it goes to Lamptey, there's not a lot we can do because we can't really get to Lamptey too much. But again, if Ramsey had got in there a little bit, or he even got goal side of this player, would he have been able to just go and shut that out? I think he might have been. It's all about positioning, but that position there, it's not helping out at all, is it really? It's not really doing anything. So there we go. And then when we do get the shot in, you can see that Ramsey is still not goal side, even of 33 anyway. And it's a fired, drilled in shot. Martinez is near post. I think he gets beat by the pace of it because his distance is okay. But I think the pace of it, he's absolutely smacked it and it's got in. So there we go. Debrief style, I've broke the goals down. If we actually have a look at the area where we were pretty dominant in the game, the momentum bar, start of that second half, it was all Villa, cruising, playing so well, but we just couldn't do enough, could we? We have a look at our average positions. We've got Konsa, who played pretty high in this game. You know, he was getting into those attacking areas. We've got Boubacar Kamara screening the back three. We've got Tielemans. We've got McGinn, who dropped into a central area as well. Bailey, I thought, played quite well. Rodgers played well. Watkins did well. Digne was fine. And then we've got their average positions. You can see centrally, two together this time rather than leaving one in there. But there was a lot of space centrally for Villa. So I think at times we played well, but Achilles' heel is our defending. Right, so transfer-wise, is vitally important that we get this window right. In the summer, we all know that we got done by PSR, which we all know that we've got money to spend, but we couldn't spend it for PSR reasons. I honestly look at some of our business in the summer and I look at it and I'm a bit not sure. I don't know whether we're doing a bit of a Tielemans with Maatsen. And look, in the summer, like last summer, and I said it last year, and I'll say it this year, there will be favourites that probably leave Aston Villa. And for the development of Villa, it probably does need to happen. It does need to happen, I think. So what I mean by like the Maatsen one, is he going to be our left back next season? And someone like Digne moves on, even though Digne is having like a really good season, I wouldn't be surprised if Maatsen is our first choice left back next season. So in the long run, with his age, you could understand why he's going to grow into that position. So I can understand that one. Onana, I'm a little bit confused by it. I'm confused by it in the sense of if we've got Kamara that we know is arguably one of our best players, and Tielemans is doing so well in the centre of the pitch. We've got Barkley as well. And I know Onana started really well and got injured and trailed off a little bit. But I'm a little bit confused about that one. I need to see more. I want to see him progress more. I want to see him own his own position. I don't feel like we've seen the best of him at all. But if you're talking about a £50 million player and a £30 million player, and PSR was a big problem for us, both signings that we made in the summer are on the bench. What does that kind of say? Our two big money players that we signed in the summer are on the bench. And Onana started against Newcastle. Yeah, I get that. But, if money's tight, and I know Maatson was PSI, etc., but you've got two big money players on the bench. That's a little bit, I don't know. So I think we've got to get this right now. We've got to get this window right. We've got to make sure we're signing the right players. But we've also been in a position now where it's not really that difficult to, as a recruitment team, to look at the areas surely that we need to improve on, because they are staring us in the face. They are. What I'm trying to say is, what I hope has happened is we tried to go for Gertruda in the summer, and we didn't get that profile of player. Now, from that moment that we were in for that right back up until right now, Monchi has to have drawn up a list of players that he wants to sign as a right back at Aston Villa. We've had enough time now to gauge what type of profile of right back we need at Aston Villa. So that position for me is fundamentally a position that needs to be signed. So what I've done is I've drawn up here now our defenders and our depth of what we've got. So we've got Matty Cash and we've got Nedeljkovic. In my opinion, Nedeljkovic, if we sign a right back, will go out on loan. Because if Nedeljkovic can't get in the team when Cash is out, he's not going to play this season for Aston Villa. I think we could all agree on that. If you can't get in the team over Cash when Cash is out, then a loan is needed. So Nedeljkovic is going out on loan. That leaves us with just Matty Cash alone. And then we know that Konsa could do that as well. But what we saw in the game against Brighton was Konsa getting into those attacking areas, wasn't he? He was getting, you saw the heat map against Brighton. He was getting into those attacking areas. So it leads me to believe now that we need a right back that can get up and down, but he's also got that bit of physicality about him at the same time. So that position for me is a fundamental must. And then that would stop allowing Konsa to be that player that has to go there, and then we play a centre half there because we'll have that right back there as well. Carlos needs to move on. Needs to move on. In the summer, Carlos has got to move on. Now, the left side, we've now got a problem anyway, because Pau Torres looks like he's done his metatarsal. This is a big problem in itself, because I know a lot of people now, as I'm mentioning this, will be going, no, it's fine because Mings can play. Mings will not be able to play every single game from now until Pau Torres is back, because even yesterday in that game, he went down about 2 times because he was feeling something. So I like Ming, I thought Mings was brilliant against Brighton. I thought his passing from the back was great. I thought he was brilliant. So in that, I have full belief that Mings can do what Pau can do. Probably add a bit more aerially in there as well for games that we need as well. But that's fine. But my big worry is I don't think Mings can play all the games. I just don't think he can do it. Which then leads me to a big problem of if Mings is out, who plays there? So that leads me to believe that we're going to have to sign someone on loan or we're going to have to sign a centre half because this is a bit of a problem now. Left back, I think, is fine. I think that area is locked in. That's very, very strong. But I'll post something to you, right? I'll post something to you. If we go, right, with a new right back, we'll imagine we've got a new right back, right? So let me draw a little right back here. That's our nice new shiny right back. He can get up, he can get down, he's defensively solid, and then we get into our normal shape. So we'll go with these three, and one of those has bombed on. Do we think this right back solves all our problems? We can then have Kamara, who's going to then start screening. So Kamara will do the screening role in there, protection, etc. I'm being honest. I'm not sure, you know. I think we need a centre half as well. I think we need another centre half. Because whatever combination we have at the minute, we're still the same. Whatever the partnership, if it's Consa right back, if it's Cash right back, if it's Carlos Pau Digne, Consa Pau Digne, I don't know. I think we need both. So, obviously, I'm not a scouting guru. I'm not a scout. So I don't scout Europe for players. But I did take a little look at players that are out of contract. And I think sometimes you can look at a player's value and think, oh, he's only costing that. He's no good. Nottingham Forest signed Milenkovic for £12 million, and he's one of the best centre-halves in the Premier League. The value is there if you source the correct players. Now, there are some right-backs in here who were out of contract in the summer that you're allowed to talk to in January, who, on a free, probably would be all right. I mean, you've got one here who I think would be pretty decent. If PSR's a problem, Kyle Walker-Peters, 27 years of age, a pretty solid right back, he would be all right. Forest are probably going to tie down Aina. He's doing really well this season, having an absolutely fantastic season. Lamptey played pretty well against Villa, scored the goal. So he's a decent one. So there are a couple of like decent right backs in there that are available on a free anyway. I mean, you're not going to get Trent, are you? But right. So, you know, there's a couple we've been linked with Devan from Ajax before. So those are a couple that are going on a free. So it's vitally imperative that above all we sign this defender, because I see people saying we need a striker, we need a winger, we need this, we need that. Don't matter. It doesn't matter whether we sign a right winger or a striker. Our problems will not change until we sign some defenders. It just won't. It just won't change. So I hope that that is the position that we go out and sign. I hope that we can do a little bit of business in January. I hope that that position is something that we can do. We can get locked down. We've had our eye on a player. The money's there to be able to do it. But I think in the summer, like some of them have they're going to have to be moved on, aren't they? Because we're just not good enough at defending, and I think it's got to improve, and we've got to get it right. And I think what you can see is that from the summer, from a position that we needed to strengthen to the next January, our problems have been sort of there because we didn't get the business done. We didn't get the right back. So it's important that we do it. But January is a tough market, isn't it? It's a tough market to get players because, you know, if you're a player that's playing really well and your club's doing really well, you're not leaving, are you? So, but the good thing that we have got is that we've got the opportunity to play in the Champions League because we're still in it. So that is a big opportunity for some players that want to do that. So I've tried to have a look at it of what I expect from this window and what I want to see come in from this window to help improve Villa. We are a good team. We play good football, but we're being let down by certain errors in certain areas. So I think I've nailed what we need. I think I've gave my thoughts on where we need to improve, what we need to do better. So January is Transfer Hub. Anybody that's not new to Transfer Hub, we react to transfer rumours, links, incomings, outgoings. We do a little bit of news shows if we need to do that. So you might see an episode once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, along with our normal content. It's a real busy month, but I like to bring you pretty much most transfer rumours. There might be some that I skip out if I think they are just like, I can't see or it just doesn't make sense. So I sometimes skip a few. But the big ones that get spoke about, Fabrizio, Ornstein, they're incredible journos, then I will react to them all for you. And we'll go through player profiles, where they'll suit Villa, where they'll play, what they'll bring. We'll have a look at their strengths. So we sort of go on a bit of a journey with that transfer rumour. If it comes into fruition, fine. Then we go more in depth on how they've been playing for their club, etc. So, yeah, it's one to enjoy. I try and have a bit of fun with it. So I try not to take it too serious. So, you know, we don't need the comments of it's a transfer rumour. Like, we know what a transfer rumour is, right? So it's a rumour. So just enjoy the content. So if you are new around here, make sure you are subscribing, smash the likes, get on the journey with us, and comment your thoughts. Up the Villa.